Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot Media. We begin this afternoon with the latest on Hurricane Irma. Although the hurricane is not a direct threat to Jamaica, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management says moderate to heavy showers and thunderstorms will affect the island, especially on Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, Hurricane Irma has destroyed 4 of the strongest buildings on the Caribbean island of St. Martin. We go to the CNN for the details.
85-mile-per-hour winds, wind moving north-northwest at about 16 miles per hour. Here's the center of the storm, very close to the British Virgin Islands. Virgin Gorda, Anegada, Necker Island, Tortola, back toward the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. And that's the area that will have the 185-mile-per-hour winds. Now let's get to the change. You talked about it a little bit earlier today, about 20 miles farther west than where we are now. Now, what do I tell you every single time? Please don't focus on the middle of the cone. The only thing is, the entire cone has shifted 20 miles farther to the east. So maybe moving, or at least closer to moving offshore or even in toward the Bahamas. That's because the European model has shifted slightly to the east as well. The National Hurricane Center said, hey, we're going to go with that right now. It's also agreeing with the American model. There's San Juan, all of Puerto Rico, getting very hard with some of these outer bands. But the wind right here, that's Virgin Gorda right there, that's Anegada right there. We are going to see significant damage through the British Virgin Islands. The big story here, what happened overnight. Yesterday, we had some of these over here into the Gulf of Mexico. Kate, overnight, very, very few of them are to the west. They are all now either to the east or to the northeast of Florida, possibly even making landfall in the Carolinas if it truly does miss Florida.
The country's murder figure continues to spiral. Figures obtained by TVJ News show that Jamaica recorded 1,047 murders between January 1 and last Sunday. This is 217 more, or a near 26% increase over the same period last year. St. James recorded 197 murders, followed by Clarendon with 112. August is the bloodiest month so far this year, with 168 murders. In the meantime, as the zone of special operations continues in Mount Salem, St. James, questions are being raised about crime in other sections of the parish. In village Mount Query, 19-year-old Trudian Lennon was shot dead mere hours before the start of Zoso. Reports are that Trudian had just come off a taxi coming home from work when she stopped at a bar to meet her sister. Her mother says that's when a lone gunman attacked.
The person was in the shop. So when them hung up now, my daughter was dead, say, turn on the music, Nashida. Turn on the music. And when she left, we got turn on the music now. My daughter get it.
There is still no confirmed motive for the shooting. She says the sight of her daughter's body was too much for her.
I didn't take her out and I see her, I weary up myself, yeah? I weary up myself and then I did it. I start crying, I'm weak, my belly burn until now my belly. It does come like me to feel the same spot the way she was in my belly at first, yeah? I don't know how I'm going to manage.
And still out west, the Westmoreland police are investigating a double murder which rocked the parish yesterday. About 2:40 p.m., workers were debushing an area behind the Savannah Lamar General Hospital when they stumbled upon a decomposed body. The police were alerted to the scene. Meters away from the body, a green suitcase and some DVDs were discovered. Later that night, sometime after 8 o'clock, the police were called to Landilo, where 50-year-old vendor Mamsie Powell was fatally shot. She sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at hospital. Shortly after, the police were called to another shooting in 3 Miles River, where 27-year-old Andre Ricketts, a mechanic, was fatally shot. Mr. Ricketts was walking with a friend along the 3 Miles River main road when men jumped from nearby bushes and started shooting. He was hit while his friend escaped injury. Mr. Ricketts died on the way to hospital. The suspect arrested in connection with the murder of well-known fashion designer Dexter Pottinger has been charged. He's 21-year-old Romario Brown, a resident of Rocky Valley District in Stony Hill, St. Andrew. He was charged Monday night by detectives attached to the St. Andrew North Police Division. Mr. Brown was arrested on Friday during an operation in St. Anne's Bay, a day after Mr. Pottinger was found murdered at his St. Andrew residence. Mr. Pottinger's decomposing body was found with multiple stab wounds. Investigators say the knife used in the attack was seized at Mr. Brown's Stony Hill residence. A television set stolen from Mr. Pottinger's house was also found at the property. The suspect was reportedly out on bail on a charge of murder. One man is in custody after a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force confiscated a firearm yesterday. Reports indicate that about 4:15 p.m., 20-year-old Mario Palmer of Portmore Villa, Gregory Park, St. Catherine, fired shots near the Denham Town Police Station. Police officers traveling in an unmarked Toyota Coaster bus along Spanish Town Road reportedly saw Mr. Palmer with a gun in his hand. Mr. Palmer reportedly jumped into the back of a truck that was traveling in front of the police vehicle and put the gun in his waist. The police started to chase the truck, after which Palmer realized and jumped off the vehicle. He fell in the road and began running when he was intercepted by the cops. He was taken into custody by the police. A magazine containing 5 9mm cartridges were also seized. Residents of Gale District in St. Mary are calling for the reinstatement of the recently transferred commanding officer at the police station. Several residents staged a protest yesterday in the town centre, voicing their concerns, saying the strategies used by Inspector Leston Pinnock were effective.
Pinnock, police living in the community. He has been doing a lot of series of meetings, and the people in the community start have a lot of confidence in him.
I believe that he has found a way to mix with the people, and he has a way of getting his results here in Gale, even with persons, you know, going around the community, coming through the community. Mr. Pinnock is getting the information that I believe and the results that I believe in the Gale and surrounding communities that we desire here. We don't want Mr. Pinnock to leave this community.
The Freemason building on Barbados Avenue, New Kingston, was badly damaged by a fire last night. Reports indicate that sometime after 7:30, smoke was observed coming from the basement, which houses a restaurant. The Freemasons, who had a small meeting on the upper floor along with a security guard, detected the smoke. The building housed the district office of the Freemasons, a branch of the Ministry of Health, and A1 restaurant. Paul Burgess was in the Freemason meeting and explains what happened.
I was in the building upstairs on the 3rd floor when we saw smoke coming from the air-conditioned duct. We thought it might have been not smoke, or it could have been steam, but then we smelt it shortly, a few seconds after we smelt it, so we rushed out to the fire escape. There's a fire escape on the building. We rushed out, came down here, and we saw some people on the sidewalk looking up.
Firefighters tried to find the source of the blaze, but the thick smoke made their task more difficult. There were no reports of injuries. There is contention in the public sector following yesterday's walkout by the Jamaica Civil Service Association, JCSA, during wage talks with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. JCSA President O'Neill Grant says the association's representatives abruptly left the talks because no offer was forthcoming. He says that the industrial relations climate is heating up.
When the members receive this bulletin, this update, they are going to become even more restive. And it is in the interest of the ministry and the workers that we start the negotiations very, very early. I'm sure that the team from the ministry haven't gotten our responses or response to their position, that they are going to huddle over the next coming days and will contact us urgently on a date that we can sit down and properly negotiate. They were totally unprepared. They were not prepared to make any offer on any item that we came to the table with.
And the Jamaica Civil Service Association has taken the government to task over the handling of its wage claim.
And we thought that it was a bit of a slap in the face, because we do think that having waited 2 years for these items to come to the table to discuss them, the ministry should have been in a position to give us an offer on the items that are standard items in our claim, and some ones that have not been increased for a very, very long time. We don't think they paid any particular seriousness to the nature and the scope of our negotiations.
The National Works Agency, NWA, is again advising motorists and pedestrians to avoid using the Jacob's Hut Bridge in Woodside, Clarendon, until it gets the money to begin an emergency work to build a new bridge. The bridge has been closed to motorists and pedestrians after heavy rains washed away a big section of it in April. But TVJ News saw residents making a dangerous trek across the bridge, even as some blocked an alternative Bailey Bridge, which they say is being undermined by heavy units. TVJ's Krista Campbell has that story.
It's a dangerous trek across the closed Jacob's Hut Bridge in Woodside, Clarendon. So men are on standby to help children, women and the elderly get to the other side safely. The bridge collapsed following heavy rains in April this year, and the National Works Agency has advised that it's not safe for persons to use. But residents say they're frustrated with the wait to have the situation addressed.
You see, we as a taxi operator at racetrack, we carry people and go overnight phase 3. When we go overnight phase 3, we have to turn all the way back from Jacob Hut, come back to Susie, which is them if you turn come a racetrack, because of the bridge.
The other night, one man dropping a hit. I look when the little picnic them. Come man, you do something with the bridge now. No. Else we got march come at Jamaica House to the Prime Minister.
The NWA says it expects to have the contract signed in another 2 weeks so it can begin emergency work to reconstruct another bridge. It says it will also do river training works along the channel to prevent the river from further eroding its banks where the new bridge will be built. Meanwhile, at this Bailey Bridge, which is one of the alternative routes, residents are upset that heavier units are not taking heed to this NWA sign. Police went to the scene after they blocked the bridge in protest.
How can a